If you're looking to buy a stacked NBA 2K account with max badges and more, visit sportstmb.com. He has been in the community for years and has hundreds of reviews. Click the first link in the description to get your account today.
Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload almost daily on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent sports talk during the quarantine, this is the place for it. My third most recent video on LeBron James and his many dumb criticisms did pretty well, and I thought it would be a decent series idea, talking about the dumb criticisms of a lot of NBA stars and former stars. If you want this to be a series, drop a like to let me know, that really helps. But today we are talking about Stephen Curry, who, as you can tell, I am a fan of. Steph Curry is one of the greatest players in NBA history, the greatest shooter in NBA history, considered by all rational people to be the second greatest point guard ever, and of course he is a 3-time champion and 2-time MVP, including the first unanimous MVP ever that was probably the greatest offensive season ever. However, there are many people who try to take things away from Steph, as you really get with any superstar. Interestingly, for me, Steph was the first player I saw rise to superstardom with everyone loving him, just for people to turn on him once he gets established, and as a result, I've watched the stupid criticisms of him pile up. So let's talk about the many dumb criticisms of Steph Curry. Okay, first off, this is not necessarily a criticism of Stephen Curry, though it kind of is. I just want to say the greatest shooter of all time debate, it's over. It's well over. The other day on Twitter, I saw a guy saying, not gonna name names, that Stephen Curry does not deserve the credit he gets for changing the game, because if Reggie Miller was in his shoes, he could have done the same thing. So first of all, saying that a player should not get praise for what they did because another player hypothetically could have done that is stupid. But also too, I don't think people understand how large of a gap there is between 1 and 2 with all-time shooters. The top 4 shooters of all time are Curry, Clay, Ray Allen, and Reggie Miller. Not necessarily in order, though that is my personal order. But the key distinction here is that all 3 of the guys outside of Steph are mostly catch-and-shoot, spot-up shooters. Reggie Miller could not take the ball up the court and pull up from 30 feet and make it like it's nothing on a consistent basis. The notion that Reggie Miller or Ray Allen would shoot more threes in the modern era is correct, however, they also wouldn't be as efficient. When you rack up attempts, it means you are taking more difficult shots. Steph's ability to hit threes from deep, off of the dribble, is what separates him between 1 and 2 on the all-time shooters list, and it's the reason that he is easily the greatest shooter of all time. If Steph Curry only took the type of attempts that Ray Allen and Reggie Miller took in their careers, he would be a career 50+% three-point shooter. That's how good he is. But because he's such a fucking ridiculous shooter, he takes more difficult attempts and still maintains that efficiency. Reggie and Ray for their career shoot 40% from 3 on 5 and 6 attempts per game. Curry for his career shoots 44% from 3 on 8.2 attempts. Steph Curry has yet to shoot below 40% from 3 in his career. That is the average for Ray and Reggie. So those guys' ceiling is Steph Curry's floor. But with that said, there are 2 main criticisms that I want to focus on today with Steph. One is the one in the thumbnail, the finals MVP thing, and then 2 is the notion that Steph is not a good playmaker and that he can't be the second greatest point guard ever because he's not a good playmaker. We're going to talk about the first one first. Steph Curry very often gets shit for the fact that he does not have a finals MVP, and this is stupid. First of all, the guy was robbed of at least 1 finals MVP. I made a video about this in the past, but in 2015, Stephen Curry absolutely should have won that finals MVP. The final series confused people because of 2 things. The notion that Iggy should have won simply because he was the one who stepped up the most from their floor, and 2, there was a perception that Curry struggled the whole series just because of one game. Andre Iguodala in this series undeniably played some great defense on LeBron James, and he nearly doubled all of his statistical categories from the regular season. He doubled his scoring average in the series to 16 points a game, he doubled his rebounding, his shooting got better from the field and from 3 than what he did in the regular season. He shot over 40% from 3. Iggy no doubt stepped up in this series. However, he still did not play better than Curry. At the end of the day, the Finals MVP should go to the best performer on the winning team, and Steph was the best performer on the Warriors, who were obviously the winning team. Iggy stepped it up, but that was still not better than what Curry did. Also, outside of Game 2, where Steph put up an abysmal 19 points on 5 for 23 shooting, Curry was fantastic the whole series. For some reason, Curry having this one bad game with Matthew Dellavedova playing great defense has given the perception that Steph was bad for the whole series, but for the series as a whole, he averaged 26 and 6 on slightly worse shooting than his regular season numbers. And if you remove Game 2, he averaged 27 points per game on 50% from the field and 46% from downtown. So it really came down to just that one game, and even with that one game, it was very clear that Steph was the best performer of that series for the Warriors. And then for the other 2 championships, there are those that would say that Steph Curry deserved the 2018 Finals MVP over Kevin Durant. I tend to disagree just because of the efficiency, but I do see where they're coming from. Because Durant had pretty much the same box score with more rebounds, and he also was 10% better true shooting percentage than Curry. However, there is a certain hypocrisy that I very often see from people who criticize Steph Curry. Many of the people that I see give shit to Curry tend to be Kobe fans. Kobe fans who give him credit for his championships that he did not win Finals MVP, as they should. Because Kobe contributed a fuck ton to get those 3 rings, I feel like people often forget that yes, Kobe had Shaq, but Shaq also had Kobe. The guy averaged 16, 5, and 4 in the series that he was injured in 2000, including a game where he saved the game after Shaq fouled out. He averaged 25, 8, and 6 in 2001 and 27, 6, and 5 in 2002, but he did not win a single Finals MVP of those 3 series because Shaq was just simply better. Kobe played amazing, but the fact was, Shaq did better. And the same can be said for Curry in the 2017 and 2018 NBA Finals. 2017, Steph averaged 27, 8, and 10 on 62% true shooting percentage. 2018, Steph averaged 27, 6, and 7 on 56% true shooting percentage. There are plenty of players who win Finals MVP who did not perform as well as Curry did in those years, but in Curry's case, he just had a teammate who was better. Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP, averaging 16, 7, and 5 on pretty good shooting and playing great defense, while Curry averaged 27, 8, and 9 on 62% true shooting percentage and did not win Finals MVP. That's just unfortunate. So the Finals MVP criticism is dumb and also very hypocritical coming from Kobe fans, which I see way too often. Be consistent with how you feel about shit like this. And as a Kobe fan, I'm gonna say this, Steph Curry at his absolute peak was on par with Kobe Bryant on his absolute peak. And not to use an incredibly overused and pretentious phrase, but sorry, not sorry. But now let's get onto the playmaking criticism that Steph often gets. I even saw in one of Dom2K's most recent Twitter police videos where a guy said that he would take Chris Paul over Steph because he's a better playmaker. Now here's the thing about that. Steph Curry is not only not a bad playmaker, he is one of the greatest playmakers in NBA history. And my reasoning for that is simple. What is a playmaker? Well, it's a player who makes plays for his teammates. That is at least what the definition should be. However, the era of stat junkies has led to the definition being warped to really mean whoever averages the most assists. And that is bullshit. Let me ask you this. Is James Harden a better playmaker than Jason Kidd? Because, I mean, his career high in assists per game was higher than Kidd's, because apparently when people are ranking passing guards, that's all that seems to matter. And even then, with that condescending example, I'm doing a disservice to what playmaking is, because I'm implying that you can only make a play by passing, which is not true. The reason that Steph Curry is an all-time great playmaker is not because of his passing. He's a solid passer, a pretty good one, but he's also not all-time great. What he is #1 all-time in is drawing the attention of the defense with his gravity. No player in NBA history comes anywhere close to being able to draw the amount of attention that Steph Curry can without the ball in his hands. It's not even close. This man is so slippery off ball and such a monumentally lethal shooter that all he needs is a fraction of a second of a team not paying attention to put a dagger into the heart of the defense, because he is that much of a threat. If you watch Warriors games and really watch, you will see defenses acting so out of character, it just gets absurd. Really, what a playmaker does is just dissect the defense, and Curry does that without even having the ball in his hand. Just by existing, Stephen Curry makes plays happen. Curry is such a lethal shooter that he'll have defenders leaving people wide open under the basket. Of course, logically, a team would rather let even the greatest shooter ever have a wide open three. However, because of how much of a threat he is, he creates a lot of confusion and defenses make illogical decisions as a result. I'd say Curry's gravity is good for like 5 to 6 assists per game, which when you add to his normal 6 to 7 a game, that makes him an elite passer according to the stat junkies. However, those that only look at numbers when ranking playmakers are not going to see those invisible 5 assists and not going to give him the proper appreciation he deserves. And also, real quick before the video ends, because I'm sure people are going to bring up this criticism, I feel the just a shooter argument is so stupid it wasn't even worth going in depth on. But all I will say is this: if Curry can average 30 points per game, lead his team to 73 wins, and shoot 50, 40, 90 in the process, then I really don't give a fuck if he's just a shooter. Because if that's the case, just being a shooter is enough to be an all-time great. So that's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.